People of the internet, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another Out of the Park Baseball 17 GM Mode Sim commentary for the Premier League Baseball and the Brooklyn Atlantics. I am F5 Penguin. You can find me all over the web at F5 Penguin. And in the last video, we recapped a little bit. The playoffs happened, and we just walked away kind of with our tail between our legs. Owner is unhappy, and we have some work to do in the offseason. And unfortunately, I will say things did not go as planned in the offseason. We tried so hard to get an outfielder and a closer and could not close the deal, for lack of a better term. Let's take a look at what we did. So, in September, we knew we were in the playoffs. Injuries galore. Couldn't really avoid it. We go to October after Avo wins, KC, Kansas City, wins the PLB championship for 1962. And we move into 1963, and two players, Kyle Nolan and Omar Alcala, both retire. Nolan at 36, Alcala at 39. So that opened up a little bit of room for us, not only in the minor leagues, but also in the $300,000 for a contract. So that was helpful for us. The next thing we did is we released Jeff Molds, Mike Holt, Jesse Lewis, Hamamoto, Dorn, Anderson, Dodge. We kind of just went through and kind of cleaned house a bit, right? No big deal. We got to talk about the options, though. We did have a little bit of optioning to go through, so we'll talk about that first. And that being the fact that we did execute for Brent Bischoff. So we have Brent Bischoff right up here. And we have him for $55,000. If he does really well, we'll opt in at $44,000 next year. We probably won't, though, depending on our outfield. We got to keep our outfield, but, there we are. Now, I did make a mistake here. I voided the option year of Dufresne for $32K because at $200,000, it was overkill. What I didn't realize is he was on a renewal for 5 years because he got called up to the major league. So even though I paid $32,000, he's still on salary at $200,000. We took care of that in a little bit, so I'll talk about that once we get to that point. We'll discuss that. Then we voided the option for Folo and the option for Thierry, who was getting a little bit old, and now Minnesota has him as a closer, which isn't going to do much good for them at all, but we did pay $11,000 for that. We also did not renew the bench coach, Don Simmons. Matt Brashear in the minor league retired, so we lost him as well. So we had to sign a new bench coach. We got Jose Cuevas. Now, we known for a while that this Eric Frelo guy was not going to cut it. Okay, we see all this that is great. We're looking at these things. Fatigue recovery decent. Preventing injuries, great. They're outstanding and legendary. They're fantastic. But the focus was on recovery, and all of our players were dying. Let's just be honest. Everybody was dying left and right. Nothing was working. So I went ahead and I fired him. I ate $20,000 in expenses, but we went and finally saw somebody in the talent pool that we could sign, Patrice Vincent. We hired him at $25,000 per year for 5 years. We got him locked down. The benefit here is he's a balanced focus, so not only for prevention, but for healing is good. We need somebody that can focus more on prevention. That was a big thing for us. Heal arms, legendary. Fine. We need that. Our pitchers die way too often. But more importantly, fatigue recovery is legendary, even though he's balanced, and he's legendary in preventing other injuries, outstanding in arm and in leg. So I think our pitchers will do okay. And so far through spring training, I've seen that actually happen. We do have some really good. We didn't have any injuries. That's what it came down to. We didn't have any injuries, so knock on wood, things are good. So we really have to focus on winning now that our players are healthy. So the benefit of the French league is that we had a bunch of French players, staff, coaches, etc. And now we're kind of drawing from that pool when we need to, and it helped us here. So that wraps up October. We go into November. And things got a little bit crazy. So we re-signed. This is a huge signing for us. Aaron Parrish, 7 years. And at the end of the season, he wanted $900,000. You'll remember we traded for Joplin, with Joplin, back in 1958 for this guy. And boy, I'm glad we did. I got him down to $350,000, $550, $450, $450, and opt out for the player. $550 and a team opt-in $550. So less than $500,000 average all seasons. I got an A+ player. Can't really go wrong with that, right? So this is perfect. I'm thrilled. I wish he was a third baseman, but I can't complain right now. So we got him. You'll notice a bunch of things happened. All of the players become they get renewed because of their time in the majors, so no big deal there. That's just contract stuff. I went ahead and signed a third baseman, Brett Jones. I saw him sitting in free agency. Numbers looked decent enough. He looked pretty good third baseman. He's 20 years old. We got him. So he's a minor league signing. I paid $8,500 for him. Can't really complain. Moving through December, we signed somebody else. We have a relief pitcher, Sam Mazurek. I know he's old. I signed him for 1 year at $30,000. That's it. Okay. His numbers looked pretty good. I'm kind of happy with what we got going on with him. I can't really complain. He's just going to be a reliever, kind of helping out. I'm expecting one of my pitchers to die, and when they do, then we'll have somebody that has a little bit more depth we'll have some depth in our pitching bullpen that we can draw from when we need to. Speaking of drawing from, Josh Wilson, he didn't want to re-sign with us. He wanted to test free agency. Well, nobody wanted him. So in December, I picked him up for $45,000. We know he's good, so he'll be one of our guys as well for our team. $45K. Figure that was a good expenditure. Now this puts us over the contract limit, so we would be making negative money again this season. It would put us negative in our bank. So I couldn't do that. So we move into January. Got a bunch of releases. We just kind of rolled through a couple guys that weren't going to work out for us. No big deal. And then in February, we did the same thing. Just kind of rolled through a couple players, moving some people around. We go to March. This is where things get crazy. So first thing I want to talk about in March, before we get to the crazy thing underneath here, is two things. One, we traded with Joplin again for a left fielder, Andy Blanchard. Not the craziest talented player ever. Hit .347 in AAA last season, 32 years old. Good depth in outfield. I think we needed that. We're very light in the outfield in the minors right now, at least in Triple and AA. So we have to wait a couple years. And while we do that, we have guys aging out. We still don't have a really good center fielder. Don't have a really good right fielder. I got Andy Blanchard as a left fielder, just as depth, and hopefully that'll work out some way. But the main thing there is Dufresne is $212,000, and Joplin needed a depth bench player for just to kind of be that extra utility player, and this is perfect. This is a perfect person for that. So they took the contract. We took a free player. It worked out for everybody involved. I'm happy with that trade. It opened up $200,000 for us to sign those two pitchers. And this pitcher, after trying for 3 different closers and somehow Jeff hitting the skip button on all of my bids. No, reality is they kept siding with somebody else. They wanted to go to a different team, whatever it might be. They didn't want to sign with us. I had 3 guys lined up. This is our third that we went after. Doug Albu. He's not the greatest closer, but he is our closer. $100,000, 2 former championships, though, 58 and 60, both with Wichita, and Wichita let him go. We know that. That means, he's aged out a little bit, but we needed somebody. His numbers looked good last season, and his FIP looked really good last season, so we have him for 1 year at $100,000. I'm hoping this buys us enough time to have some of our depth, like Dion, Nita Sastro, to really grow into talent, and Vince Norris, those guys in the minors that we have just kind of floating around, kind of get them up to our Hernandez level, so to speak, or our Andres Moreno level, so to speak, if you remember him, have been following for a long time, right? So we got that going on, and I'm kind of confident with it. So we have Doug Albu, $100,000 for 1 season. $200,000 total opened. We filled that up. Now, 2 more things happen in the offseason. Kind of lay out what we got going on. You'll see a bunch of picks happening here. And that is because we have initiated, well, let me talk about this first. We added the new human, okay? Yay, a new human GM. This is big because it's in our division. Minnesota North Stars are now run by Victimize. One of the players that we used to play hockey with, he's now part of the PLB, the Premier League Baseball, and it's going to be a good time. I'm glad we have another human, especially in our division. We kind of needed that. So he's in, and he will be taking over Minnesota, and Minnesota just lost Noriega, so we'll see if the rebuild can happen. they did get one of our closers that we were bidding on before Victimize took the team. So keep that in mind. Now, the second thing is the reason we have 25 picks this draft is because we created a rookie league. First time ever in PLB, 13 seasons in, we now have a rookie league as we ever expand in what we're doing here in PLB. So this gives us a chance to see more players out of high school and college instead of having to actually, cut 10 players every single year to fill rosters. There is no limit, no roster limit and no age limit in the rookie league. So we can have 16-year-olds all the way up to 25-year-olds or whatever. However, there is a rule that once a player is spent 2 years, 2 full service years, 2 seasons in the PLB, no matter what level, they can no longer be assigned to the rookie league. So that's something to note. So like if we move up, a 17-year-old that's really good up to a single A and then bring him back down, he can't play in the rookie league after 2 seasons. So we might as well keep the young guys down there, give them time to grow, figure out who's good, cut the rest, and then bring in a new pool of talent for the next season as we move those guys up through the ranks. I think that's going to be better for us because we were cutting players that were fringe, and some players could be really good, and we lost some, and some players, it was unfortunate. So now we have the ability to avoid that with this rookie league, and our rookie league is the Havana Sugar Kings from Havana, Cuba. So we have Florida, Burger King Baseball Club. We got Cuba. We're in Dallas. We're in Phoenix. And of course, in Brooklyn. We make our way north as we kind of travel through the league. So this is exciting for us. And the good news is the changes we made a couple of seasons ago to the way the managers favor draft picks and potential more has caused all of the top 3 rounds to not be cut like it used to be. So we have really good parity in the league. We have good competition in the rookie league. I think this will help everybody immensely. We can really look at some of these players, and if some of them get cut, they might go to France. They might get signed by another team, or you move them up through the ranks. And we have a couple of really good players, especially in our top 5 picks. So I'm happy with that. Most of the teams are in Mexico, Cuba, or Puerto Rico. We are in Cuba, and I'm happy about that. So that brings us to March. We go to April. We see that nothing really happened. June, we had a couple of things go on. This was spring training. We called up a couple of players, and we go into July, and we have a couple of injuries. We are already in July right now, unfortunately. Housekeeping note here. I'm moving next week. It's Thanksgiving, so things are a little bit crazy, and videos have been, hard to put together when you're packing things. So I apologize for that, but we're going to do some recaps here and recap June as we go into July. That's coming in the next video. But here's how we look. So we pull up the rosters real quick, and you can see the screens changed a little bit. We got Brooklyn on the left, Dallas in the middle, International Complex on the right. Phoenix on the left, Burger King Baseball Club, our single A, in the middle, Havana Sugar Kings on the right. And then our disabled list underneath, which is already starting to fill up with Perdomo, of course, being injured again. Either way, that's all right because our pitching looks like this. Sabala, Leon, Salazar, Rubenstein, Hop. I think this is the best starting rotation that we have, hands down. There's nobody better, right? So I think we got the best core. And our bullpen is just a question mark, which consists of Wilson as our new closer. That's what both my bench coach and my manager is saying. I'm going to try it, but I probably will switch to Doug Albu if things don't get a little bit better. We got to kind of keep an eye on it. But he's already got 4 saves, so we'll see what happens. Albu set up, Dion set up, Kira's middle relief, as most people recommended I do, and closer, Masaryk, Garza, Nidi Sastro, 12, rolling 12 pitchers this season. Lineups look like this, and it's the same on both sides. Oh, quick note also, all of the minor leagues now have a DH position, but we still don't have a DH in the majors, in the PLB proper. That gives us a chance to see the bat swing more. We know the pitchers aren't going to hit well, so no DH in the majors just yet. I think the Players Association is pushing for that, but we haven't seen it just yet. Anyway, Lehman, Ohala, McCarty, Parrish, Zarnecki, Capra, Warwick is a call-up, and Johnny Madden. That rounds out our team. I have Parrish in the third base spot. I'm going to sacrifice defense for hitting. I'm going to do it every day till I'm blue in the face, I think it's the better call. I put Cordell as the defensive sub, and it's the same on both sides. Brady backing up McCarty and Zarnecki. Philpott, Brady, the top two hitters. Philpott hit 333 this season, 359 last season. 333 so far isn't bad, so we got to see. If he holds on, I'll be happy. I take above 300 any day of the week, so keep that in mind. Link in the description below to the Premier League Baseball website, which will be a little bit ahead. Keep that in mind. Also, please like and subscribe these videos. Share them around. I hope you're enjoying them like I am. This, of course, is Out of the Park Baseball 17, the GM Mode Sim commentary for the Premier League Baseball. And the next video, opening day, we'll talk about June. We'll recap how we did. And, of course, I'm F5 Penguin. You can find me all over the web at F5 Penguin. And I will see you all at opening day, June. We'll see how we do. 1963 playoffs. Here we come.